Did you know that only 28% of Americans actually go to the gym? And that's crazy because if you guys are currently going to do any kind of workout, you're well above average. And that's cool, but I want so much more for you. And I know that you do too. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to the gym and you're getting that time in, that is time away from your family, away from your work, away from watching Dancing with the Stars or whatever the heck you do. Like, that's cool. We want to make sure that you're maximizing the amount of time that you have in the gym, that you're actually getting the most out of it. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the top 4 things, 6 if you count the 2 bonus ones I'm going to throw in there for you, that you can do starting today to get the most out of your workouts. A little bit of backstory. This is coming from my own experience working out and a couple of years of coaching high achieving men to make sure that they can get the most out of their workouts, build their best physiques as well. So bear with me. I'm going to walk through these. You can implement them starting today. Now, the worst thing would be, maybe not the worst thing. There's a lot of really, really bad things we could think of. But in terms of your actual physique and gym progress, picture this. You step into the gym. You've blocked out 45 minutes to go get a workout in. You've driven there or stepped into your home garage gym, whatever it is. You look around at the equipment. Somebody's using your favorite piece of equipment. Now, if you're working out at home, hopefully that doesn't happen. But you just decide to pump out a couple push-ups, go home, call it a day. That's always better than nothing. But if you are not doing these 4, 6 if you count the bonuses, things, you are not going to get the most out of the gym, and neither of us want that for you. Okay, so starting with the 2 bonus ones that I think everyone should be doing if you are going to the gym. Number 1, if you want to build strength and get the most out of the gym, you have to track your weight and reps. This is absolutely critical. As a client of mine in the program, you have access to our app where we can keep track of your workouts every week, every session that you do. You can go and log the number of reps and the amount of weight that you pushed on that particular exercise. This is absolutely critical because if you don't track it, it can't improve. What gets measured gets improved, or whatever. There's a saying that's cool like that. But this is so foundational because if you do this, everything else will work. So if you're not currently tracking your weights and you just go into the gym and wing it and kind of throw around whatever weight you think feels good, or even worse, the same weight you were pushing back 20 years ago, you're not going to get the most out of the gym. So instead, I would challenge you right away, as a client of mine, use our app where you can track your weights. If you are not a client of mine, then there are a ton of free apps that you can go download to track your weight and reps in the gym. You could even just, old school, bring a notebook, write it down. That's critical. Foundational step number 1. Step number 2 that is absolutely critical is to follow a program for more than a week. Because if you are going to the gym and just winging it, doing whatever you feel like, or even worse, program hopping every week, your muscles are not going to have time to actually progress and get good and have overload in a particular set of movements. You're not going to be able to develop mastery and actually progress them to the point where you want to. And so this happens all the time. Like, you'll get in the gym or you'll follow a program and you'll be like, hey, this is cool. Or more often than not, again, just wing it based on whatever you're feeling that day. The problem there is you cannot progressively overload the movements. You cannot get your muscles stimulated to the point where they can grow, because that's what we're after. We're after pushing your muscles to a point of failure where they have to rebuild, and that only happens over time. The concept is scientifically called progressive overload. That's what we need. So commit to a program. Doesn't have to be a perfect, ideal, optimal program, but commit to a program that you can see through for weeks on end without really even changing the underlying program itself. We're going to change other things to make it progress from one week to the next. Keep the program consistent. Now, side question here. People will ask, what is the optimal program to follow? To that, I would say if you are not currently following a program consistently, it doesn't matter. Choose one that you can commit to and follow through with consistently first. That's what matters. That can be 3 days a week, that can be 5 days a week, it can be 4 days a week or 6 days a week, whatever. Find a program you can follow through with that pushes every part of your body, ideally multiple times a week. If you're working out 3 times a week, a lot of options. You can do a push-pull legs, you can do 3 full body workouts. If you're doing 4 a week, I like an upper-lower split, so upper, lower, upper, lower. If you have 5 days in the week to follow, I like doing a upper, lower, and then push-pull legs. If you're doing 6 days a week, you can follow the bro split and break it up into chest, back, legs, arms, whatever that is. I haven't done the bro split in years. Point is, it doesn't matter. Just pick a program that you like, you can follow through with, that you feel excited about doing, and that you can commit to for the next couple of months, to be honest. Okay, now specifics of what you can do in the workout. First thing you can do always is add more reps. So again, you've been tracking your weight and your reps, so you know how many reps you did last week on that movement. Go for 1 more. Or if you can't get 1 more rep than you did last week, go for a partial rep. And then log that. It's the first line of defense. I challenge you to push more reps. Now, as you're doing more reps, you want to get close to failure. I want you thinking about that proximity to failure. And a lot of you have never actually trained to failure before in your life. So the next time you hit a workout, I want you to pick a movement that you can feel fairly stable on. If you have machines in your gym, choose a movement that you can do on a machine, right? Think something like leg extension or a machine chest press or a leg press, whatever. I want you to get to the point where you feel uncomfortable. What you want to watch for at this point is the speed of your reps. When you start the set, your reps are going to be really pretty fast and controlled, but consistent, right? So let's say that you're doing a leg press and it takes you about 1 second to push the weight up. Second rep, still about 1 second. Third rep, about 1 second. As soon as you start getting to maybe let's say rep 7 or 8 with that weight, your rep speed is starting to slow down and it's taking you maybe 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds, and then you hit this wall. This is the point where most people would stop. You hit the wall and your rep speed slows down to 3 or 4 seconds. It feels grindy, it feels slow. The thing I want to challenge you is when you hit that point, you probably have 2 to 3 reps left in the tank. But most people don't think that. They think, oh man, I slowed down my rep. That looked a little ugly. I don't want to, fail it and be awkward. I challenge you to push 1 more rep. It's going to feel crazy. It's going to feel really slow. Then try to go for another one. And you're going to realize that you actually had 1 to 3 reps left in the tank beyond that wall where you probably would have stopped. So each week you can push a little bit further and you're going to notice that you're a little more confident with more reps. First way to progress. Second way to progress is better form. This is one a lot of people don't actually think. And this is one that I would recommend before even adding weight. So you've done a little bit more reps. I'd focus second on making those extra reps better form. So like I said, if you're adding more reps and slowing down the rep speed unintentionally as you get more fatigued, from 1 week to the next, maybe your rep 7 on that last set was very grindy and a little bit off and your form started to go out the window. That's okay. This week, try to hit that rep 7 with consistent form compared to the other reps before. That's going to help you progress. Okay, number 3, Number 3, this is when, actually, guys, bear with me. One more thing with better form. What we just talked about was that concentric move. That's the movement where you're pushing the weight up, generally speaking. A couple other things you can do with your form is you can slow down what we call the eccentric, the lowering phase. Take a bicep curl, for example. If you're curling up, that is the concentric. That's what we're paying attention to with your rep speed, right? But you can also slow down the lowering phase or the eccentric. That's going to make way better form. It's going to give way more tension on your muscles. That's something from 1 week to the next. You can always slow down that eccentric and have more control throughout the whole set. You can also improve your form with better range of motion. So let's say you're doing an overhead press. You can focus on getting that full range of motion, getting the bar all the way down and extending all the way up. That helps a ton. You can also focus on improving the stretch. So in that fully extended position, again, let's just say you're doing chest flies, that stretch, you can bring the weight a little bit further down and feel that stretch in your chest. If you get more stretch, more tension on your muscles, you've progressed a little bit from 1 week to the next. Very cool. Way number 3 to improve your or progress 1 week to the next is adding weight. This is the one that most people will jump right to, but if you've done those other ones beforehand, this one becomes a natural next step. Now, on your programming, most of you, if you are one of my clients, your programming typically has a suggested range of reps that says do bicep curls for 8 to 12 reps or 10 to 12 reps or whatever. Chest press 6 to 8 reps. It's in there in your programming. What I would recommend is you find a weight that challenges you at the bottom range of those reps, that only allows you to really pump out, if it says 8 to 10 reps, find a weight that you really can only do to good form in the lower range of the reps with 8 reps. Then next week, after you have improved your form and you've gone to 9 reps or 10 reps, once you've gotten up to that top of the rep range, increase the weight until you can only do the bottom of the rep range again, rinse and repeat. That's the easiest way to keep adding weight over time while making sure that your form is good. And then finally, you can also add on more sets. This is the one that I recommend least for most of my clients, just because I understand that your time in the gym is valuable and you don't want to just be adding a bunch of junk volume and sets just for the sake of it. So after you have done all those other methods, they're your first line of defense, you're still pushing the weight, you're still a couple of years down the line progressing, you can always add more sets. That's cool. A couple of things you can also do here, advanced techniques that are not necessarily adding a full extra set. You can do a drop set. This is where once you've reached failure with the rep, and you can no longer complete a full rep with that weight, you can lower the weight and go and do a few more reps. There's also what we call myo reps, which is where, let's say you're doing bicep curls, you've gotten to the point where you've failed, you can't do another curl, rest the weight down to the bottom, set it down for like 10 seconds, pick it back up, and do a few more reps with the same weight. Another advanced technique to get a little bit more volume without adding a whole new set is partial reps. Let's say you're doing leg curls. Science has shown that typically you actually get most of the same benefits if you work out the muscle in just the lengthened position or just the stretch position of the rep. Now, I am a big fan of full range of motion, but if you've done all your leg curls to the point where you failed, you can go out and do a handful of partial reps down at the bottom, right? So if you're doing a leg curl, you can, like a lying leg curl, and you do just half reps at the bottom for a little bit, it gives you a lot of the same benefits because you are still working the muscle in that stretched position. Now, those are ones that I'd recommend less for most of you watching. I'd focus on those first few, the first 3 techniques that I've talked about, but those are all options that you have. What I hope that this video has done for you is that it's opened up your eyes to all the possibilities of what you can do to progress in the gym without switching up your program. So again, follow and commit to a program for the long run, and then use these techniques to get the most out of it. You can run the same program for a year plus if you just use these techniques to progress it and keep moving forward every single week. Hope this helps, guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, I drop a video like this every single week, breaking down techniques and tips that will help you to get in the best shape of your life. If you are not currently one of my clients, there is a link down below where you can learn more about my one-on-one coaching. If you are local to the St. George area, I actually have a couple of special things that I offer for local in-person clients, with weekly training sessions where we can sit down and go through all of these techniques together, help you progress it over time, and get the most out of your workout. So if you are at all interested, click that link down below and set up a call. We can see if it's a fit.